I've dominated over 1,000 straight men, and this is what I've learned about pain.
And that's what I'll be reacting to today. Welcome back to BDSM Advice with Midnight. Today, I'm asking the question, is what's between your legs the primary factor for how you can enjoy pain? I'll be comparing the experiences of a professional femdom versus that of a professional male dom, yours truly, going over the physical, mental, and lifestyle factors that influences how much you can enjoy pain. And then I'll be giving you a couple of tips to be able to increase your own pain tolerance or that of your submissive. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. That's how we get bigger. And in this case, bigger is better. Let's begin.
I've dominated over 1,000 straight men, and this is what I've learned about pain. 80% of those men didn't want anything to do with pain. On a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 doesn't hurt at all and 10 hurts a lot, most men can only take up to a 2 or a 3. They would call the safe word after a 3. When I play with women and non-binary folks, I have to be the one that calls the safe word because they can take so much pain. It is incredible. It is pleasurable for them at that point, and I am very impressed.
So that video is from Anna Lynn Golden. I'll be including a link to her YouTube channel in the description below. She has played with over 1,000 straight men and has a bit of a different experience than I would. As a professional dom, I've played with about 800 people myself from various different backgrounds, and I've had, well, let's just say a bit of a different experience. So short answer, is it what's between your legs that matters? No. Long answer, I'm glad you asked. So, if it isn't what's between your legs, what is it that actually influences your ability to enjoy or receive pain? Well, the first thing is, let's understand our definitions there first. Pain and pleasure are simply a spectrum of ways that you react to a physical impact for the purposes of this video. They're pretty much the same thing, and how you react to it or how you feel about it can greatly change the result. Simple example, a warm hug from a loved one is gonna feel great. However, getting grabbed by a sumo wrestler, lifted up into the air, and slammed back into the ground, that's gonna hurt. And yes, I am speaking from experience. That was a fun festival. So, how do we actually understand what it is that actually influences that? From my own perspective, while I have played with some straight men, the femdoms in my own household have a little bit more experience, and I will say, there's nothing that really stops them from being able to enjoy pain. When we look at society and culture, we see both men and women are able to engage in sports, mixed martial arts, and various different types of competitions, or even just working out where pain is something that you know is a part of it, but at the same time you can enjoy that experience. I will say from my own there, in weightlifting, doing martial arts or other sports, the adrenaline that kicks in and all the other physical biochemical factors that are occurring greatly increase your ability to be able to enjoy pain in that scenario. And these are going to play a much larger effect than the genetics of what parts that you have. When we compare people who are just getting into the lifestyle, there's going to be a lot of things that they're lacking in experience that is going to allow them to be able to enjoy pain. This is the same thing you're going to see if anyone's just starting to go to the gym or just starting any sort of sport or activity. The lack of experience prevents you from being able to fully enjoy the activity itself, and you will experience some form of uncomfortable pain more than you would, say, a year later into that activity. The same is going to relate to the lifestyle. So if you are a professional dom and you're taking on clients, a lot of your clients are going to be people who don't have a lot of experience and are just starting to tip their toe and want someone who can help educate them and give them a good first experience. And even with thorough negotiations, having a firm consent, the first scene is always going to be a little bit less than what you're expecting. I don't think there's been a single moment where I've started with someone with zero background experience in the lifestyle who was able to go into an impact play scene and just be able to go as hard as someone who's been doing it for at least a year. Even with people who have taken on with training contracts, playing with them just like once or twice a month, I do see that there is progressive growth in their ability to develop further their pain tolerance. So when you are dealing with mostly new people, yeah, you're going to see that a lot of them are going to be not as enthusiastic about receiving pain. There's also the reason why they are currently looking for a professional dominant. I will say in the space for the traditional straight guy, there is a cultural sense of shame if you're not the leader, the provider, the breadwinner. So you're already going into it with barriers. And you're often seeking more of the release, and that is a huge thing for all submissives. Is primarily they want to be able to be taken away from where they are currently in life to this special spot there where they don't have to worry about those stress or other mitigating factors. Being able to create that for someone is going to be far more useful than any amount of pain that you can inflict. And this brings us into understanding how mental states play a huge factor in your ability to enjoy a scene. If you walk into a scene and you're stressed, you're confused, angry, anxious, anything, it's going to prevent you from being able to actually enter into the mindset needed to enjoy the scene. Again, we can draw parallels from normal vanilla activities. If I go to the gym and my headspace isn't there, something stressed me out, I don't have my music with me, I'm never going to be able to perform to the same level as if those barriers weren't already in place. And it doesn't matter how skilled you are in the lifestyle, a bad day can just not allow you to be able to engage in the full you. So, how is it that we help to remove this so that we can actually experience this better? This is something that you can tie into foreplay or even have as a pre-scene activity where you take 5 minutes to practice breathing, meditation, mindfulness. Just take a moment to mentally prepare for what it is you're about to engage in. Acknowledge with yourself that, yes, okay, I'm going to go into the scene, we're going to be doing a flogging or a spanking, it's something that I want and I want to be present and mindful there. Focusing on that will help to reset your mind so that you can partake in the activity itself as opposed to being worried about whatever it is that life is stressing you out. Now, in terms of the physical, there are so many factors that are more influential to deciding whether or not you can handle pain versus, what your mama gave you. Some people will have various different ailments that impact them in terms of what it is that they can feel in terms of pain on a day-to-day basis. People who have or experience physical pain normally are going to have a higher threshold of pain because of their familiarity with it. It's also going to more likely pull them towards the lifestyle as they attempt to understand their pain and how to be able to transform it. Anything in the kink lifestyle is going to help them for that. So you will notice that people who are dedicated to the lifestyle are going to be more likely to be okay and have a higher pain tolerance than those who don't experience that. When you start to tie all these factors together, so your level of experience, how does your body normally process pain, and most importantly, what is the mental state that you are experiencing, this is what's going to really set the bar on how you are going to be able to enjoy pain. Being mindful of all these factors when you're going into a scene is important as well. Because if you're not mindful of this, you're not able to negotiate or let your partner know about this as well. I will say, as a professional dom, I know from experience I have to keep an eye on these things, but I try to make sure that I really ingrain it into the people I'm playing with, that I need you to communicate with me how you're feeling, and that it's perfectly okay if it's your first scene, you're going to be nervous. There's going to be anxiety. There's oftentimes a desire to want to perform or impress your dom. You don't want them to be putting in all the work. But if you're not being aware of this, it's going to put your mental state lower. It's going to stress you out because you're going to be thinking, oh my God, am I doing this right? Am I behaving how I should? And if you don't have that very strong sense of community and safety, it's always going to bring you down to where it is that you could be. So being mindful of that is of the absolute importance. Now, lastly, how is it that you can actually improve your own pain tolerance? Well, we've kind of talked about it a little bit already in the video. It's about experience. And it doesn't have to be super frequent in order for it to be effective. As I was saying before, I've played with some people there for once or twice a month for around a year, and I notice that their ability to take pain goes up. Not only that, going through the journey of understanding yourself in the lifestyle is going to help you feel more okay, and then you're going to want to give yourself more into it. I had someone who could barely take much of a flogging, and now it's their favorite form of impact play. The smile I see on them when we really get into it there about 30 minutes into a scene is amazing, when before we really couldn't do more than 5 to 10 to start with. So of course, my prescription to you is more play, more activities, more engagement. That is how you're going to actually increase your pain tolerance. And don't ever let anyone try to convince you that it's what's between your legs. Because I've also heard the exact opposite. A big problem with women in relationships with male partners who aren't kinky inherently is they're so worried that they're going to hurt their partner or that they can't, inflict pain, which has nothing to do with your actual ability to enjoy pain. It is about the control that you put into the scene. It's about the mental health that you bring into it as well. That's going to be far larger factors. Because I will say, I've seen a lot of extreme masochists, and I see men and women there. It is completely possible, and nothing about those particular genetics has anything to do with your ability to enjoy. So remember to go out there, have fun, keep having fun, and then you're going to have even more fun. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.